With the 2017 offseason coming to a close and every last free agent is finding their mark and collecting their money from whatever team they head to, one team that was very unexpected to have such a good offseason was the Sacramento Kings after trading away their all-star center DeMarcus Cousins at the trade deadline. Surprisingly enough, we had one of the best offseasons comparably for most teams. Not only with the fact that we had a lot of cap space to use this season, the Sacramento Kings added a lot of youth via draft or free agent signings. They also added a good amount of veterans that will help mentor the future generation and help not only improve the starting lineup but greatly improve the bench. With a team like this having such a good offseason, we can only wait to see what the season will bring.
What's going on, everybody? It's me, Mark Robertson, and I am back in today. Today we are going to be talking about how the overall 2017 offseason went for the Sacramento Kings. Before we get started, thank you guys so much. We have reached 212 subscribers. That's 5 more than last time. Keep working hard, and you guys will get to that goal in no time. While you're down in the comments, if you're new, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that easy like button. It's right there down by the comments. Make sure you guys are commenting on my videos. I love talking to you guys. You guys know that I respond to almost everything. Today's like goal is going to be 50 likes. I know you guys can do it. Sub of the day is going to be Luis Gonzales. He always comments down below. I love talking to him. He's always good at giving his opinion about stuff. He's been with the channel for a good 3 months now. Thank you for staying loyal, and let's get into today's video. First off, we're gonna start about the draft. Then I'm gonna go into free agency. Then I'm gonna go into summer league, and then I'm gonna give my overall opinion of how this offseason went. Starting out with the draft. We were projected going into the draft to have the 8th and the 10th pick. The 10th pick being acquired from the DeMarcus Cousins trade. And with the 8th pick, when they had the lottery, we got really lucky because the top 3 picks were going to be Boston, Lakers, Kings. It was going to be the Kings at the 3rd pick. The crazy part about this though is that we were 8th. So that means that we got the smallest percentage possible to enter the 3rd pick after being at 8th. But with the switch with the Sixers, we went down to 5th, which was fine. With that 5th pick, we did get our point guard of the future in De'Aaron Fox. His speed, his quickness, his scoring, his playmaking is going to be a huge factor in the future of this team. I'm excited to see him develop. He's a lot better shooter than everyone says he is, as we saw in Summer League. Obviously, his 3-ball he's got to get a little bit better at, but he's starting to shoot more of those mid-range shots pretty well. Moving on to the 10th pick that we had projected. We did get the 10th pick from the Pelicans, but we then quickly traded that pick once it came up to be, which ended up being picked for Zach Collins. Got traded to the Blazers for their 15th and 20th pick, which ended up being Justin Jackson, who's a great wing player who has already proven that he can shoot consistently, and he had a great summer league, and he's going to be a play now ready NBA player to come in and shoot the 3-ball off the bench for right now and possibly become our starting small forward. And then also we got, at 20, we got Harry Giles. He was projected to be a top 5 pick before his big injury. If he would have played full year at Duke, he would have been top 3, possibly 1st overall pick, which would have been crazy to see. But just with hearing that, that means the ceiling is so high on not only Fox, but also Giles, and I'm excited to see how big of a production they're both going to bring. Moving on to our 2nd rounder, we had the 34th pick, and I was surprised to see that this player was still there, with him being the 2017 College Player of the Year, and that is Frank Mason III. He is a great shooter. He's a great point guard. He's going to be a good backup point guard. I'm excited to see his game develop. I'm excited to see his game get better than what it already is, because he's already got a good game. Just can't wait to see him on the floor. I'm thinking that if he would have been about 4 inches taller, A, he would have been drafted 2 years ago, and B, he would have, instead of playing 4 years at Kansas, unless he wanted to stay there all 4 years, would have been a top 5 pick this year if he would have been 3 to 4 inches taller. For the draft, I'm going to give the Kings an A. They were probably top 4 winners in this draft, behind obviously Minnesota getting Jimmy Butler. You got Philly, who got Markelle Fultz and a whole bunch of other 1st rounders and 2nd rounders. Boston, who got Jason Tatum, who looked fantastic in the summer league. Kings, I'm giving you an A for your draft skill, but let's move on to the next thing. Before we get into free agency, I just want to go over where everybody that was on last year's roster, where the people that exited are now. Ben McLemore and Tyreek Evans are going to Memphis. Langston Galloway and Anthony Tolliver are going to the Detroit Pistons. Aaron Aflalo is going back to where it all began for him in Orlando. Rudy Gay is going to San Antonio to be the sixth man behind Kawhi, which will be fun to see how that whole thing works. I think if play around with the rotations, they could have Kawhi at 3 and Rudy at 4 because he can't play that stretch 4 position, so there's that. Darren Collison went back to Indiana to play as their starting point guard there, and then Ty Lawson went to China. There's our updated free agents for you. 8 players now off the team, and that includes, from this last season, that includes Omri Caspi and DeMarcus, so there's only a few left on this team that's still the same team. Let's move into free agency. So, the Kings signed George Hill, Zach Randolph, Vince Carter, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Jack Cooley, and Jakar Sampson. Jakar Sampson and Jack Cooley are obviously on 2-way contracts. Like you guys saw in my last video. If you guys haven't checked out my last video, go to the iCard and it will be in there waiting for you to watch. If you guys haven't seen any of my signing videos, you know that I put out videos based on when these players were differently signed. If you haven't seen any of those, go and check those out on my channel. For this, we have George Hill, who is on a great contract. His first 2 years are a lot bigger, but his third year, so we can use the first 2 years as a mentor. Third year, trade him for like picks, or trade him, use him for some kind of good plus on the team and trade him away, and you can have Darren and Frank Mason take over the point guard position. So there's that. Like I said before, George Hill's contract is very tradable. His last year is only $1 million guaranteed, which is fantastic. Then we move into Zach Randolph. He's on a 2-year, $24 million contract. That's fantastic because he can go ahead and mentor all the bigs and everything. For Hill, Randolph, and Carter, they can all mentor everybody. I feel like coach is going to want them to just focus on their certain positions, like Carter focus on shooting and small forward, Hill focus on point guard and shooting guard, and Randolph focus on the front court. Moving on to Vince Carter. He's on a 1-year, $8 million contract. This is great. We have a player coach that literally mentors everybody on the team, so that's good to know. And then we did end up getting, after he won his championship in the EuroLeague with Fenerbahce, we got Bogdan Bogdanovic over on a 3-year, $27 million contract, which is the biggest contract in NBA history for a rookie, which I'm glad that the Kings have some kind of record in the NBA record book, so it works. He's going to be a great instant offensive player, and then his defense can translate to the NBA pretty well. So I'm excited to see how he plays. That's pretty good for our free agents. I'm going to give them an A for this too. How they set up these contracts make it so easy that like Zach Randolph after this year could get traded, or George Hill in 2 years will get traded, and then Vince will come off the books for $8 million right there. So we're going to have another $40+ million in cap space coming up to next year. So we could end up signing somebody pretty big or going and trying to trade for somebody bigger, but you never know. So that's why I'm giving that an A. Moving on to Summer League. Obviously, our Summer League play was not as impressive. We went 2-4 for the Summer League, but I'm giving Summer League a C+ and not like a lower grade because players shined in the Summer League. De'Aaron Fox, when he was on the court, was shining. That one game against the Suns when he had 18 points and 5 steals. That was a great game. He showed off his shooting skill, that he can shoot and that he's getting better at it. And then you move on to Justin Jackson, who is an NBA-ready wing player who can shoot the ball, can drive to the basket, get floaters, play good defense. I'm excited to see his game develop. And then obviously Scalabrine Sierra getting a lot more bulky and a lot more post play and getting into the post and being able to just dominate down there. That's my C+ right there. I'm glad that we got to see these players shine. I would have liked to see, even though they want to make sure that he's healthy for the season to start, I want to see Harry Giles in the Summer League just to see how he plays, because I haven't watched much of Harry Giles, but I want to see how he plays. I've seen a little bit, some of his high school stuff, but I want to see how he plays. So I'll have to wait until preseason, right? Before we move on to my overall opinion of this team, I'm going to just give you guys the roster setup really quickly. So going into 2017-2018 roster, our point guard position is going to be George Hill, De'Aaron Fox, Frank Mason, and that's our 3 point guards. Our 3 shooting guards are going to be Bogdan Bogdanovic, Buddy Hield, and Garrett Temple. Garrett Temple will probably play some of the small forward as well. Our 4 small forwards are Vince Carter, Justin Jackson, Malachi Richardson, and Jakar Sampson. Obviously, Jakar Sampson and Jack Cooley will probably spend a lot of the time in the G League. Come up for a little bit, G League, come up for a little bit, G League, kind of like how our rookies did last year. And probably how Harry Giles will probably go down there for a little bit and then come up. Moving into power forward, we have Scalaby Sierre, Zach Randolph, and Harry Giles. I'm excited to see how this trio of power forwards are going to play on the court, as in like them playing separately, but I'm excited to see how they play. Then we move on to centers. We have Willie Cauley-Stein, Costa Koufos, Georgios Papagiannis, and Jack Cooley. Like I said, he'll probably go down to the G League with Jakar Sampson. Once they trade Koufos, Papagiannis will get a lot more confident, getting a lot more consistent minutes. When Koufos is on this team, he's going to get more minutes than Papagiannis, of course. But I really do see them trading Temple and Koufos before the trade deadline, maybe even earlier in the season. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Now we're going to move on to my overall. And I'm giving this team, just percentages wise, the percentages come out to be that this team did a B+ job this offseason, but I see it more being a 89.9% and a 91%. So they did somewhere between B+++ and A range. So I was very impressed with how the front office took this. We did see another move, as in Scott Perry going to the Knicks, but we did get a pick back for it. And then we got the ex-VP from the Sixers, Brandon Williams, who I'm excited to see come onto this team, and I want to see what he brings to the team. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. I'm glad you guys are enjoying my content. Make sure to hit that like button, like I said. Make sure to comment down below what you guys think about our offseason. What grade would you give our team this offseason? Make sure to hit me up on my social medias. I'm always checking them at least once a day. You can go ask me questions on there and I'll answer you on there, or just comment down below and I'll make sure to get to you ASAP. My Twitter is Kings4Life2K17. My Instagram is Mark Robertson Jr. and my Facebook is Mark Robertson Jr. And I'll catch you guys later, Hoop fans.